Okay, Ruth, we are live.
Great. Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 17 of Enlightened Women, Enlightened Youth Summit. I'm Dr. Ruth Anderson, and today, being day 17, we're just going to soak in to Sommer Joy Ramer Day today. We're not going to think about the future. We're not going to think about the past. We're just going to be present right here, right now. And we're just going to experience everything that Sommer has for us to experience. Her recording was done July. It was actually in July. So it feels like a long time ago now, but her message is very current. So welcome and thank you for joining us. And Teri Angel is here today. We're going to set an intention, but first let's have Sommer come on and say hello.
Hi, I am really happy to be here, and I know it's about midway through the month. It's been an amazing journey of seeing so many incredible interviews, and so much of the angelic realm is present, and just moved to be here to be a part of it today. And yeah, and may it support many. Thank you, both Teri and Ruth, for joining me too.
Absolutely. And when we get to this video, there's something that I want you to notice. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. It is 44 minutes and 44 seconds long. And 4444, which means all is well in angel numbers. And
good.
When I pulled up the video and I saw that it was 4444, I asked Archangel Michael, I said, does that mean that all is well exactly as this is? And he said, yes, don't edit it. So this is the only video that is coming in uncut, uncensored. And so we're just going to be uncut and uncensored for our entire time here today on the Facebook Live. So Teri Angel, please lead us for an intention for our time together today.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody, and welcome. And Ruth and I were talking a bit before the live started, and she asked if Archangel Michael had any words for us today. And he absolutely does. And he wants us all to step out in faith. That's his huge message for us at this time. So let's get to the intention. Just place your hand on your heart. Slow down your breathing. And add in some gratitude. Let's really get into that feeling of gratitude in our hearts today. Whatever might bring you to that place, a person, a place you've been, an event, this wonderful summit, just get into that feeling of gratitude as I read these words for our intention. Our intention today is that each of us reach deeper inside to that place of pure compassion, listening to the guidance from Divine Mother as we connect with each other to become more present in our world. With Archangel Michael standing beside us as protector, may we feel safe to share our love to fellow human beings, animals, and nature, wanting only the best for all and peace in our world. May we lift each other up to raise the vibration of the planet to create a healing, more compassionate environment for us all to inhabit. Let us always remember that our strength comes from unity, and we are made stronger by our soul connection to the oneness. May we continue to put our faith in the spiritual divinity, even when we have doubts. And so it is. Thank you.
And so it is. Thank you, Teri. I appreciate that so much. And I have to tell you, for every other video, Archangel Michael has been standing off to my left. And today he is standing right over my right shoulder. So he is here in full power, full strength, full presence. He is right here. So with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to enjoy Sommer's uncut and uncensored video. Hi, I'm Dr. Ruth Anderson with Enlightened World Network. Welcome to this episode of Enlightened Women. Grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and join us. Enlightened Women is a show about women who are consciously awake and choosing to fully embrace life. These are real women living real lives while walking in spirit. And we know that it isn't always easy. Each day of this summit, we get to meet an amazing woman who's coming from a place of being heart-centered and wanting to make a difference in the world. This series is the brainchild of Archangel Michael, and he has led me to meet some awesome women who are presenting with us, including our speaker today. There's a good chance that he reached out to you and encouraged you to listen in. I have to believe that he is so pleased that we are all together. Today we're talking with Sommer Joy Ramer. Sommer is a font of global transformation and is the founder of Garden of Joy and co-founder of SIGN, which stands for Synergized Impact Network Exchange Alliance and Compassion Games International. It's my honor to introduce you to Sommer Joy Ramer. Sommer, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I feel Archangel Michael is a dear friend, an ally of mine. So I'm honored that he brought us together.
So Sommer, I believe that we're all here for a reason. And I tend to believe that we're all here to make a difference in the world. Mm. Why are you committing your time and energy? And what are you doing to make a difference in the world?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. You know, I think since there's been so many changes, that probably more than anything, like since 2011, where I felt a deeper call to, at a deep soul level, awakening happening, where I felt something shift in me, I think really connected to the universe. And, you know, for the most part, I feel like it is at this point in my life, everything that I do is coming from a place of how am I looking out for the future generations that also have an opportunity and a chance and a birthright to have an amazing life and to have a beautiful planet to live on. And I think about the children of the future, and I think about the younger generations that are so challenged right now living on planet Earth. And so everything I do is about shaping the planet that I wish to see for them, is what I dedicate my life to. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I think, you know, when I think of being a little girl, when I'm actually right now, I'm sitting in my mom's house and I'm looking out on a beach that I spent most of my childhood in the waters of the Salish Sea on Whidbey Island. And I think about that little girl and how much I learned from being out in nature. I was often out in nature and enjoying the wild and the raw and the natural, and how much that held me in who I am today. I will be 39 in about a week. And I recognize the same, you know, etchings and sacred places that I don't think I realized when I was a little girl how sacred these places are as I am aware of it now. And I want that for every child, to have a sacred place to be their natural selves and to recognize how significant compassion is, how significant the way we treat each other, and how spiritual it all is, you know, kindness. And like you said, you're bringing women together that live life from their heart. And it's been a journey to get to this place where I can say that, yes, Ruth, I am everything I do is guided from my heart. But I haven't always been able to say that, you know? And so I wish for all beings, all, you know, natural, our earth feathered friends all deserve to have this planet to call home. And so everything I do really comes from that place.
So
Yeah.
as the mother of two beautiful daughters, thank you for what you are doing to try to make a change for their future.
Mm. I
appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a mom yet, but I feel that is also kind of a part of why women are so vital right now and taking a stand and taking a lead. I think of the women's soccer league right now, that there's a lot showing up about how they're taking a stand for just what isn't right, of how women are treated, and that the obviousness and how they're able to stand for that there is something that women are birthing, you know, even if you're not a mom. I feel that, like, thank you for saying that about your daughters, is in a way we are all like, there's this, you know, birthing, like I feel the contractions and the pain and this process that is happening, and the empathy and the pain, and then the breathing and the expansion, that there is something extraordinary as women that we have in our bodies that are to birth and create and make space for life. Yeah.
I was shown something very special in meditation that I shared during one of the other videos, so I won't share it now. But truly, women, particularly of childbearing age right now, are being called on to nurture and hold the space for a healed planet and a healed humanity. So yes, I totally understand what it is that you're referring to there.
Yeah. And there's a subtle difference between like force and also like taking responsibility. Like I feel really, really in a discerning space right now, super curious and not always knowing exactly how to do it. But that sense of, I feel a lot the Gandhi quote in how I live my life: be the change you want to see in the world. So he didn't say, go out and make people change. He's saying, and a leader of what I would say, you know, men, we need our men to connect to hearts too. And Gandhi obviously is someone we can lean into, of how he led from his heart and nonviolence. And I really find the more I am recognizing the things that in this world that maybe I can't even fathom are happening and make me angry and upset, that actually challenges me to go even more and more into the commitment that I stand for, and the way that I can go, okay, you know, really being honest, like where in me do I still need to work on to create the unity and, you know, that being the change I want to see in the world in the interior world, the cleaning up inside myself of and then how that, when I really commit to that at a deeper level, it shifts that world that I live in, you know? And so it's just a really interesting kind of dance, I would say. I'm really curious about is, you know, that taking responsibility and you know, seeing the things that are painful and make space for that. And, you know, there is this more being that is quite feminine in a sense of, and strong in that taking a stand for, you know, what I wish to see in the world. Yeah.
It's a strong feminine. It's a strong feminine presence that
Yeah.
I'm seeing as it's a strong feminine presence created out of love and compassion and nurturing. It's all coming together, but it's coming together not in weakness, which some people tend to think that feminine traits are weaker. No, if you pull those traits together, it's a strong, forceful, loving, kind, caring, compassionate presence.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And in that sense of, I don't think there's anything wrong with force either, but I also think that there's a force to be reckoned with.
There we go.
Right. When being in the presence of a being that is really, really taking responsibility. And you know, I think a lot about like the Dalai Lama, who, oh my gosh, he has every right to be angry to the political stance of China and what they've done to the Tibetan people, and yet he has so much compassion for them. And I've been in a small delegation space with him in McLeod-Ganj in northern India, actually a year ago. It was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And compassion is a big part of my global transformational work that I do. And in everything everything. Compassion it's everything. And he really embodies that. I think that is a big part of compassion, and what you're talking about in that force to be reckoned with is this embodied way of, it's not just like a thought. Like I don't see the Dalai Lama go, yeah, you know, I must be compassionate. I can feel it. This like deep, almost like love and a lightness that his whole body emanates.
Well, he is compassion.
Yes.
And being compassionate, he is.
And we, you know, the people we may admire the most in the world, and I really believe that we can access that. You know, I know I admire His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and I know that and for our audience, the audience here listening, that we have the capacity. We have so much more capacity than I think we realize sometimes of what we're capable of really being in our lives. And it's the Dalai Lama, he's a human. He's a human like all of us. And he has dedicated his life. He is a bodhisattva of compassion. And I really do believe we all have that in us. And yeah, if we really want to, there's so much we are capable of doing and being.
Well, and we're capable of doing that on a minute-to-minute basis.
Oh, yeah.
Even just walking into the grocery store, you have the option of ignoring the checker and, you know, just running in and running out. Or you actually have the option of shedding the ego and looking at them eye to eye, smiling and just saying, hey, how are you today? Every minute we have that option.
of
being love or being compassion.
Yeah, and from it to come from the most authentic part of who you are. Because I also can feel the difference between when it feels kind of fake, like, oh, I should be kind, or I should do that good deed because I know maybe it's a little bit more ego, like, yeah, I need to do my good deed today, or make my donations, or pat someone on the back today, versus it coming from that deep place. When you really witness like experiencing kindness and it's so real, like, oh man, if anything, that sort of my husband says, and I know where did he get, Patricia Ann Davis, she's an amazing elder, a Dene native elder that I've done some courses and ceremony with. And I so believe this from the depth of my soul, that authenticity grants authority. So how can we be more and more and more authentic? And I mean, that when I think about what you're talking about in the grocery store, it's like, oh my gosh, just drop down the barriers and let's just like, hi, human, like, and just be real. Let's be real with each other. And that sense of the authenticity is so what I crave. And I think that's what I feel too.
Most people crave that. And I think that our world is in a place where there are so many people craving that.
Yeah. And we also live in a time of, yes, craving it, and also having so much to access, so much wisdom, so much that anything that you possibly want to learn is available. I mean, we have so many choices, maybe not in all parts of the world. And I know that there's places that don't have access to internet and these things, and those things are also changing, and there is a lot happening right now. And at the same time that we have so much access to, there's also an incredible thing happening around isolation, where people, as much as they have everything that's at their fingertips, they're also extremely lonely and not feeling heard. And so that's like, in the sense of the grocery store and being out and about in life, it's like, I so want, because it's like, maybe I right here, or you were like, we can't change that. Maybe not, maybe we can. Maybe it's in our hands right here. But what we do have the capacity to shift is when we are walking around, are we really being open, and are we really connecting with people around us? Do we really appreciate and stop and just look around? And we all live in communities, we all live in places where there are people that feel lost. And I also feel in that sense of discernment and the authenticity, those questions we're asking ourselves, what can I do to help this person? Yeah. And in that sense of the angelic world, I was recently, I feel called to share this with you, especially in relation to Archangel Michael. I recently went to a Dairy Queen and went through the drive-through. There actually are like no fast food restaurants, but this one Dairy Queen would be on the south end of Whitby, and I rarely go, but I just was like, yep, I'm a loving, high vibrational human, and sometimes I go to Dairy Queen, and that's me being real. And so I'm so grateful that I went this particular time, and this woman that I knew from different time in my life who actually cared for my grandma right before she died. And I hadn't seen her since then. And she is managing this Dairy Queen, and I didn't know that. And I came through the drive-through, and it's a slow drive-through. It's a small island. So there was literally no other cars, luckily, no other cars behind me. And it just was this time that ended up being about her and I connecting. And she was sharing she started to open up with me about this man that she had been in a romantic relationship with that became not safe for her children. And she had just recently kind of kicked him out of the house, and that he was still kind of lurking around in the community. And I just said to her, I said, do you feel safe? Do you know that you can call on angels to support you? And it was like, that was why I went there. I didn't go there for the burger. I didn't go there for the fries, and I held her hands and just brought in Archangel Michael. And she didn't know anything about Archangel Michael. But it felt like there are these intersections we have in life, and whatever is going on, and the stories that I had before going on in my own life that actually were extremely stressful, that it all went away. And it was about being of service to this amazing human that I have always thought is an angel, and how she, cared for one of the most important humans in my life, my grandmother, June Herget. And I drove away from that Dairy Queen, and I was like, thank you, universe, for that. It's just it's every moment really matters, and how we are available. Are we really open for those experiences that I hope that helped her life. I hope that, and I believe that it did.
I'm sure it did. That's a beautiful example of how you listened. Well, you heard spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and you acted on what you heard, whether you were consciously aware that that's what you were doing at that point or not. When you were talking about you as a little girl growing up on Whidbey Island in Washington State, I could vision it, having been there myself. But I also saw, as you were playing on the beach and the sun glistening on the water, I also saw Minerva there. I don't know if you know Minerva as a spiritual guide, but she shows up to me on water, and I could see her there. I often see her in connection with Divine Mother, but I could see guides around you. And my guess, my belief is that you have had guides with you all of your life, whether you were aware of it or not. Were you aware of angels and guides throughout your lifetime, or is this newer to you later in life?
Yeah, I could just cry thinking about this place. And I don't know if I knew it was angels when I was a little girl, but I definitely knew that the water and this particular beach that I'm literally looking at right now, I've had connection to my whole life, is, my song line. And as I've matured and as I've been more curious spiritually, because I was raised in a very not religious, none of my family were really spiritual or interested in enlightenment. And there was a lot of Christianity growing up. It was just Christianity in a way that was the access point to spirituality. And it never really resonated for me. It was more of a social thing. But what always made, that little girl, and yes, the glistening water, and there was something that I accessed on this beach my entire life. And I don't think I knew then that it was an angelic realm, or that it was honestly like the fifth dimension that is there. And how deep I feel connected to the eagles, and there are some of my totem animals that I connect to on that beach. No, I mean, I wasn't really fully aware. And I think the emotions come up for me because it was there. And I know that because I've done a lot of healing work around certain things connected to my childhood. And so I know when you say you've always had guides, it's precious to me because I know that there's been this protective like bubble that I've always had around me. And it really, back to 2011, something happened at 11/11/11 where my more spiritual curiosity outside of religion, outside of just spiritual relationship with things around me. And back in 2006, my grandfather passed away. And that was when I started to feel like presence after someone passed away that I feel really close with, that I started to really feel like the essence of like guardian angel became real to me then. It was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I really feel grandpa is like here, or I could look up in the sky and there were certain stars that would glisten. And I was like, that's him. And it became so real. And so that, just over life, that it's become an absolutely huge part of my life. I mean, spirituality and sacred is everything to me.
So I think so many women see light workers on Facebook and they think they've got everything together. And
yeah,
if you're walking with spirit, then you don't really have bad things happen to you in life.
Oh, yeah.
Have you faced struggles in your personal life that other folks have as well? Are you special because you're in connection with spirit that nothing touches you?
No, I mean, I guess if anything, why I chuckle a bit is, part of being human, this is my story, is we all have challenges. And being in relationship with spirit or not being in relationship with spirit, or whatever is real and true for any human, I think it's part of life, is suffering. And absolutely every day. I mean, if I'm not challenged or feeling fear, to be really honest, on a daily basis, I know I'm not challenging myself enough. Like, I want to crack open, and I've done some work with David Gershon and Gail Straub. They do this amazing work around empowerment. And we talk about the different domains of life and where is your growing edge? Well, that is constant. And as exciting as growing edges are, it's also incredibly not graceful and hard, and in my work that I now share with clients is called the Garden of Joy. To think about in our gardens, what is there's the blossoms of life, the flowers and the beautiful, and then there's these buds that haven't quite blossomed. Why are they not blossoming? And that is an ongoing part of life. And so, yeah, I absolutely have really dark, sad times. And the way that I think about it too is, just like the natural world, the moon cycles, the seasons, especially where I live. I mean, there's clear seasons. I know there's places in the world where you can't really see when winter ends or when spring begins. But is here, where is my natural place in the world, I absolutely feel there is a necessary honoring of those cycles. And I'm very, very connected to the moon. And I know when with my lunar, what comes up in that time where I do need to go inward and really get to a deeper place of reflecting, and where emotions are more tender for me. Like because I've been aware of my cycles and I've been curious and interested rather than pushing it away when life is harder. That I think that those kernels of when things are really hard and honestly like kind of feels crazy, feels dark, are at the center of those, or on the other side of those experiences, is where the most beautiful light is and will enter when we get really curious and like, you know, I really try to think about those experiences that are hard and where I go and my triggered and the fears and stuff. That part of me, I really try to imagine like the future generations and the children on planet Earth, if I could care for it like a little baby that's new to it, like, oh my gosh, you know, how can I really care for you? And I mean that talking about myself. What can I really do for you to love you and support you and care for this experience that's going on? And I think it's so important. And it's anyone that may say, oh yeah, I'm a spiritual being and I never have hard days, or you know, I don't have fears. I'd be really honest, like I'd be really concerned about these people and how they're claiming to be in a way that is perfect, or I've done all my work and I don't have more work to do, or that politics and that stuff, putting it aside and not making it also a priority with life, that I would call spiritual bypassing. Those are red flags for me. And I think it's so important. It's like, you know, like doctors that we open up into our field to care for what's going on in our bodies, spiritual guides, light workers, these different frames. I think it's so important that we're really asking ourselves, does this feel right? Are there any red flags that I'm experiencing with this person that doesn't feel back to the authenticity? You know, I think it's really important as we are opening our hearts and our spiritual selves. I'm very cautious, and not in a like oof way, but just being really aware of what people are saying they are, and then what I'm actually experiencing with them. It's almost like, you know, a radio station, and we're listening in and it's saying all sorts of things, but there could be like a static that you are also witnessing in the sort of FM AM, like, I'm hearing that, but I'm also hearing something else. And so, you know, that's I think an important muscle to strengthen in these times of really like discernment. Yeah. So absolutely. I know it was a long answer. Yes. Hard times, always. Yeah.
I love how you're talking about the need for discernment and being in alignment with yourself. And that can even go to the things that you watch on TV. Do you really want to bring that into your being, the books that you're reading, the people that you're talking to, the foods that you're eating,
Yeah,
and your spare time? bringing body, mind, and soul together with real clarity and intention of living a life on purpose. It's what I'm hearing you talk about, and I'm watching you model, frankly, between looking at your work with Sign, Garden of Joy, etc. You are living a life of intention and purpose. So thank you for that modeling.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yes, I am. And it's an ongoing learning journey.
So speaking of ongoing learning journey, my last question for you, Sommer. I know as a spiritual being, I am being shown and taught so much. Every day I'm learning something else. And I think it's really just helping to round me out as a spiritual being having a physical existence.
Mm-hmm.
What are you learning right now from your spiritual journey?
Well, I think a lot of what I've been sharing is part of what I'm learning around, I think, honestly, one of the most important things to continue to practice is discernment. Is so, so vital to continue to really show up. And also, I'm also learning that the vitality of life from one meeting to another place being of service is how important it is for the purity of my vessel. And I would call it transitions. When you say that you're living a life of intent, yes. And it's what I'm learning is how vital it is in the finding what is my own rhythm to keep things pure in my body, in my being, so I really can be the utmost present and available, caring being. Is that the necessity to even be able to listen to the guidance that's coming through, that how important it is to continue to empty and like in between spaces. Like I also am a black belt NIA teacher, which is a somatic movement practice. And we talk about in life, in our bodies, there's our hands, and there's something called web space is what we call it. And so I am also super, super interested in my life where there's spaces between, It's like, here I am with you, and we're having this experience together. And at some point, this will end. And how am I caring for the spaces in between, and caring and really, emptying from this experience so I can fully arrive to the next experience. And I find that when I'm really being more and more aware of where the spaces in between. So in my hand, I didn't really say web space. So the web space is the space between my fingers. And so if we think about our life, that, what are we doing in these spaces between? So I know for myself, a tendency I may have is going to my cell phone, like, getting from this, going to the phone, maybe scrolling Instagram, scrolling Facebook, right? Or, the things that, I got to do this, I got to do that. Or am I, going outside for a minute, taking a big deep breath, letting go, releasing the energies of what was, and so it's like, I am so curious right now, how can I get more and more conscious, more circuitry in the present moment, in my body, in how I'm in more circuitry in my home. And I mean circuitry in the sense of, you know, presencing. And when I do that, wow, my day and my relations are so much more whole. There's more of a wholesomeness and more magic, more beauty, more of recognizing too, how am I, one of the things that sign is big, hairy, audacious goal is being a part of actually achieving peace on earth by 2030. So I also am very multidimensional in how I am, yes, the spaces in between, and how am I participating in actually achieving peace on earth by 2030? Am I being in an optimal state right now to support that? To support the lives, the wonderful, precious life on earth? How am I actually supporting that right now? So that is a learning curve. A learning curve right now is that, yeah.
It's going to take me a little while to unpack all of that. There was a whole lot that you shared.
Yes.
But I saw too a piece of you, not, it's a bifold piece. Excuse me.
It's a what?
There's two parts to what I heard you saying.
Right.
It's being fully present in the moment, but at the same time, it's also being able to hold space and move forward multidimensionally.
Yes.
So, right. So there's a whole lot of different things going on there. So
Yeah, there is complexity.
there is, yes.
Yes.
But thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Thank you for having me here, Ruth. And, you know, I love what you stand for. And I don't say yes to every invitation, but I really see you, an enlightened world, a part of peace on earth by 2030. Like, I want to participate with other humans that are looking out for what is possible, the possible. So thank you for holding that for us with Enlightened World.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that.
Mm-hmm.
So Sommer, if folks want to contact you or follow you, how do they find you?
Well, I am on Facebook, and I'm Sommer Joy Ramer. So I have a Garden of Joy Facebook page, which is a place that there's a lot of going into this. Didn't really get to speak to it, but this space that I would like to call an untouched sovereign land created in the universe for you, that I am attuning to that for clients with the Garden of Joy. So find Garden of Joy, message me there, and you know, I'm always open to giving a taste of Garden of Joy through Zoom, or if you're close by. And then also the other work, Sign. Check out Sign, SINE.network. Apply. I am the person that is part of the discovery session to see if being a part of Sign Alliance, which Enlightened World is part of Sign Alliance, with many amazing organizations and humans around the world making important change. And then also compassiongames.org. I'm the co-founder of that as well. My email is Sommer, SOMMER, at compassiongames.org. And I'm available, you know. Love to be of service.
That's great. Sommer, thank you so very much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me, Ruth. Yeah.
Okay, I love the ice cream cone, and Archangel Michael was just sharing with me that it would be so cool if we had Amazon drones everywhere and we could just drop all of our members an ice cream cone right now. We could just enjoy taking a break together and enjoying one of the fun things in life to enjoy. Sommer, I have to ask you, what did it feel like watching that video? Did you still resonate with all of the things that you said, or have you even shifted some since that time?
I'm, you know, I'm blown away by her. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
She's
Sommer.
amazing. Yeah, she's amazing.
I love her. And my hair was a little bit more pink.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, it's so interesting too. It's like, I also believe in some ways that time is sort of like, there's like this learning that happens that may seem linear, but I actually, in some ways, I felt in that space being with Sommer in July that like, wow, there's some things that I'm working on right now that like she knew and she knows, and in some ways I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. So it was really, really fascinating to listen. And you know, one of the things I remember that I said in that interview is we are capable of so much more than we realize.
Yes. Yes, I wrote that down to talk about that.
Wow, drop the mic. And in some ways, I'm reminded of that from myself watching that interview. Like, oh my gosh, wow, that's right. You know, the things that maybe I'm sort of in my human experience today, September 17th, a few months later, like the wisdom is there, that's there. It is there. And the capacity that I was sharing from that day, just, yeah, wow. I'm just in awe, really. And Ruth, you're interviewing, I really just have to say this. I think that there's a depth of how the container is held and how you really are bringing in the angel realm is so present that I really felt Archangel Michael and the other, I felt a lot of multidimensional presence of angels watching it. Like it's interesting to be in a space of being interviewed and being very present with that. But I felt a lot of angels, and it was absolutely emotional for me at times, like watching it and how you were tapping in and seeing me as a little girl, and like your clairvoyance is so profound. And I just need to say that too. Like, I think in some ways this summit and the time that I'm super grateful to know you, Ruth, in this very deep time of you coming to what it feels like is the center of why you're here. And so, yeah, like it just is really rich, the space that you hold. And angels have become a lot more visible for me in this time that I've known you. I would say I've like deepened because of this space. So thank you to both of you, Teri and Ruth. I think you're holding a very profound container this month.
Thank you. That is so exciting to hear that you are experiencing more of the angels. That's, yeah, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm cheering over here. That's so cool. Sommer, one of the things that you said, we were talking about feminine strength. And you said, and I love the phrase, I wish I could have taken credit for it, but it came out of your mouth when you said, it's
have it. We can share it.
Okay, thank you.
I said, what did I say?
This feminine strength is a force to be reckoned with. You said, when a being takes responsibility and steps out with compassion, embodying kindness and compassion. Wow, that total goosebumps. And I'm reminded I was seeing Divine Mother here during the video, and she was helping a woman in labor here in this healing pond that we've got going on here. And I'm reminded of the women of childbearing age that are being called on right now to come forward. And yes, with the support of the mothers before them and the support of their daughters under them. But there is such a calling for females right now to come forward and to step into that place of power through love and compassion and kindness and empathy and shift the planet. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that looks like for you in your world right now? I know you're bringing together the women of Sign. I know you've got two amazing soul sisters with Karen Palmer and Niobe Weaver, and you are bringing together women in strength, compassion, and unity. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's also really auspicious, the timing of today. This is the 7th day of the 11 Days of Global Unity, the September Compassion Games as well. And today the theme is women and young girls is the theme today. I just want to wow, the timing. And, I mean, I think in some ways there's this natural way of sort of arriving and showing up to where there's a guidance that's happening here. And in some ways I feel like I'm showing up in a way that feels very fierce in my being, like showing up for life. Like there's definitely something that has been happening in me that's bubbling up from my womb, and thinking about that day when you interviewed me, I remember preparing for it. And you may not know this, but I was in my mom's house. I actually wore my mom's, spirit was guiding me to wear my mom's sweater. I was there was a lot of the women, when I think of ancestors, that I felt kind of were supporting me to get ready for that day. And so I think a lot about that too. And, the women that have come before, and how I know I spoke a lot about the future, but I also think it's really, really important to think about what's happened before this life, Summer, and the fierceness and the sweat and the incredible sacrifices that a lot of women, specifically when I think about my family, a lot of sacrifice for others. And in some ways I feel like I'm shifting things in this lifetime, that it's time to not necessarily put aside my desires and dreams, but it's time to stand and rise in what I care about the most, and to have that. I think in some ways that's what's really present in me, and a greater learning about that, in the web space that I talked about, that getting up in the morning, and what I actually do, the quality of how I get ready for my day has definitely been a really, really potent space for me, is that in the web space of the preparation of the day. And I'm far from perfect, but I definitely, it's a space that I'm noticing, taking notice, in that ongoing learning journey of whoa, wow. And in the fierceness of what I'm capable of, how I show up in spaces. And when I think about that, of what does that mean, feminine, fierceness, I also think a lot about what comes to mind. I think about Greta Thunberg, that young, fierce, amazing woman, that is standing for climate change in a way, everything about her life Like she's not, there's no like part of her that's not looking out for it. Everything. She took a boat from Sweden across to the US. She's not getting in a plane. All of her clothes are given to her. She's not buying anything new. And it's less about what she's saying, it's how she is being and her actions and her behaviors. And I feel like, wow, I mean, admire that, you know?
So, and this is going to be the last thing, and then we're going to move on to Teri and our friends over in the Facebook group. But you were talking about the Dalai Lama, and we came to the realization that he is compassion. And I want to ask you, if there was one attribute that you want to be in your doings, what would it be? I know for me, it's grace. I want to embody grace in my connecting with folks and frankly with myself. What attribute do you want to just embody?
I think in some ways when I think about being in that space with him, and yes, he said incredible things that were quite intelligent and kind of like, you know, threshold, like definitely there's an intellectual capacity and like, wow, you know, but I think the thing for me is around, he holds a container for the universe and a space for, you know, like an acceptance and a playful, joyful, like the little boy. But it's not that that's like less though. There's something for me, I want to embody that. It's almost like it's unspoken that he emulates, that I hope in this lifetime that I can be that and share that kind of depth of love and just like pure like new and fresh presence for whatever's going on around me. Things that may trigger me, like, oh my gosh, trigger, or something that really pisses off my personality, and that I can still, it's not like suppressing, it's like space, being that space. Okay, I welcome that too. And that's what I hope to.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Teri, can we hear who's out there in our Facebook world?
Absolutely. Oh my God, I loved this interview so much. Sommer, I love you. And you do embody love. Thank you. So Karen Palmer was with us. I love you, Karen. She says, women are rising in kindness and compassionate leaders. Get ready, world. I love that. Deb Goldberg says, so beautiful, Sommer. It's all inner work to clean up the external world. Thank you for what you are doing. And I'm trying to keep my cat up here by me or else he'll start yelling. Okay, Deb also says, learning to be compassionate is an ongoing journey. It is something I have to keep working on myself with compassion. Part of my journey, I found it easier to be compassionate to others than myself. Teaching compassion is such a needed and powerful message. And don't we all find it so much easier to accept, love, forgive, be compassionate to others than to ourselves? We're sometimes our own worst enemy. What else do we have? Deb Goldberg says, Sommer, you are supporting all of it by being yourself and doing the things you are. So much of what we do day to day individually are unseen, but the benefits are immense.
Mm-hmm.
So true. And Deb says, Ruth is amazing. and doing a beautiful job. And her light comes through in every interview. Profound container. Great words, Summer.
Sweet.
Dr. Nancy Tarhart is on. Hi, Dr. Tarhart. Thank you for being here. And I think that was it. I was so impressed when you were explaining the web space, the space between. Can you just like go into that a little bit more? Because I loved that when you were talking about it and feeling that energy of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it really relates to compassion too.
Yeah.
One of the people you mentioned that about self-compassion being hard, and that it's easier to be compassionate for others. And so I think in some ways that web space, I like to use the hand, that space between. So we all know that the meetings, what are the things that are not the space between, and thinking about those kind of anchor points of our day, check the emails, the taking care of your daughters, and the sort of checklist of things, and then that space between. And so, without judgment, but to just notice the tendencies. What are the tendencies of what we're doing in between the space? The quality, right? Like you wake up in the morning, you roll out of bed, and you just go straight to the emails. No judgment, but just like, oh, that's interesting. I do that a lot, right? And to recognize, well, maybe that's a space that could be fluffed up a little bit, cleansed, and how that can, for whatever's next of that thing that you're going to do, if it's your meeting or email, like imagine the potency and the quality that will shift. And I'm sure shift everything, but even the in-between. So there's like the meeting, and then there's the other thing, the phone call with mom, or the just like, how are we emptying? And I honestly, I think that that's part of self-compassion. Like it's easy to, if we know it's easy to be compassionate for others, then that's like part of maybe the growing edge for you, is how to invite and bring more awareness, just more awareness and attention to, I really want to bring more self-compassion into that space between. And maybe that is knowing there's more choice than like kind of feeding the habits and the tendencies that we know are a vibration that are not supporting like the wholeness. You're thriving, that garden, right? The garden of joy, not the garden of taking care of everybody else all the time. So yeah, hopefully that answers that.
What I'm hearing
is, I love it.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is mindfulness and being present.
Totally.
Yeah, and not just going into those places of habit of where you lose 10 and 15 minutes here and there, but really being present.
Yeah, and the fact that in some ways we're never done. And that's the compassion, the maybe a little bit lighter sense of humor about things, of even all of the women that are a part of this. I think something that I hear over and over again in a lot of these interviews is that we're never done. We all have challenges, and that sense of even just mindfulness and presence, there isn't a point where you're like, oh, I'm totally present now. Like I'm done. Cool. It's actually like, oh, it's more like, I think of also questions versus like a fixed space in the web space. It could be like a question to kind of like nourish out of the tendencies.
Yeah, it's our growth time. And I can't remember who came out with it, but it's like the space between thoughts, that time when you just breathe and just take it in. And we need more of that, when you just take in instead of constantly being, giving. So just being still and being with us.
Yeah. How can you have more fun in the web space? Bounce around a little bit, sometimes the space of self-growth and stuff can be so tight and like, I gotta go to my meditation now, or I'm still haven't done that yet. Like, it can be so like, how can we lighten up
Go swing on the swing set, play in the playground. Yeah, be a child again.
Yes, please. Like, never ever like let that inner child, let's not forget about her. I don't care how old we are or young we are. Like, gotta have fun in life. Like, I stand for that.
So I think our retreat should be at Sommer's place on Whidbey Island. That would be so fun to be on the beach with you all.
I would love to share that space with both of you and the audience. I've actually done a lot of retreats on this beach, and there's an amazing part of the beach once you get past the houses where it's just like clay cliffs, eagles, and it's just us. And I actually see a lot of my clients. I do Garden of Joy one-on-one sessions out in nature, which is another dimension of opening up self, is that nature space, as well as on Zoom. It can be very powerful being with clients in their favorite places, their nature places too. So,
well, this has been delightful. Sommer, we're going to say goodbye to all of our friends. Thank you to Sign members for being with us. And thank you so much, Sommer, for this awesome time. I've got a page and a half of notes here that I want to go back and reread here. And Teri, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun. And just blessings to the rest of the summit. And the sharing is part of what Sign brought, is sharing onto other Facebook pages. So those of you that are also watching know how important it is for the win and the success of this summit for all the different speakers, that Ruth and Teri, this great work they're doing every day to share this out so more people will be a part of the summit and enlightened world.
That's perfect. Well, thank you. Much love to everybody.
Love you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.